Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Alright, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming to you from Beaumont, Texas. My Saints won today. It's a happy day. Let me adjust this light here a little. There we go. My Saints won today. They beat God, who did they beat? I don't even remember. Who did they beat? Chicago. Yeah. I got some delay here, so I apologize if I look a little weird. Trying to figure things out. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon. I spent all day smoking a pork shoulder. 12.3 pounds of glorious meat. And it came out fantastic. A big shout out and a thank you to my wife for making the marinade and everything that it stewed in. It formed a great crust and it was fantastic. But you guys don't care about that. You guys care about the RPG reviews, the video du jour of RPGs, and I've got it. Being October and Halloween right around the corner, I thought, well, we got to do a horror game. I'm not going to do Cthulhu. Everybody does Cthulhu for Halloween. We're tired. He's an old god. We want new gods. We want space. Horror in space. Terror in space. Outbreak. Deep Space. Core rulebook. This is by Hunters. The website is outbreakdeepspace.com. And it is produced, or it was made by Christopher J. De La Rosa. They had a successful Kickstarter. They do put out a couple other games. They're kind of big on the zombie horror kind of thing. I have not looked at their other games. I picked this one up at MagCon in 2014? 2015? Yeah, let's go with that. 2015. Yeah. Let's start with our first thing. It is, let's see, 240 pages, with the last page being dedicated to a thank you to the Kickstarters, which is always very cool. Who doesn't like seeing their name in print? This is an odd bird. It's not my cup of tea. Let's get into what I like about it. The art. The art in this book is right. It's why I picked it up. The cover just grabbed me when I saw it there on the dealer shelf at MagCon. Etten Games had it there, and it's when I first found out about Etten Games and MagCon and everything, and so I wanted to kind of support them, and you can't go to a convention without buying a game, so I picked this one up because, like I said, it sparked me. I believe the retail was $44.99. In my opinion, a little pricey for a off-the-shelf or off-the-cuff game that you've never heard of. It's a little bit on the pricey side. I mean, you expect that kind of price point from Fantasy Flight or WotC, Catalyst Games, guys that make BattleTech and Shadowrun. You expect that because they have an established name. That being said, the production quality on this is very well done. The art is extremely consistent. Every chapter is started with a nice painting. Looks like an oil painting or something. Might even be digitally done. I don't know. But I will tell you, it is nice, and it does go very far to setting the theme of the game. This is a very dark game. It's set in space. You are besieged, depending on how the GM wants to set it up, but you're foobarred. There's no good way to say it. You're put into precarious situations, and you're made to try to survive. There is a bad guy. I mean, let that do the talking for you. These things are fast. They eat your face, and they multiply like crazy. This is one of the early games that I know of that was selling proprietary dice. I won't get too much into the dice mechanic because I have not played this game. I've read the rules, and I will say, as they are written, they are confusing as hell to me. The game uses a percentage-based system, with D6s typically being damage dice, and then D6s are used for difficulty dice, speed dice, damage dice, and depletion dice. And they sell the specialty marked dice that you can buy. I believe they sell them on their website. They also have some reference cards that I would imagine would come in quite handy for gameplay. And then, of course, your percentile dice. You set a target number. It's a percentage-based system, and so you want to meet that target number plus or minus any modifiers that are. And there's a ton of modifiers in here. Initiative is done very weird. I don't know a good way to describe it on camera. You just kind of have to play it. I'm not even going to try because, like I said, I haven't played it. I would love to get the chance to play this game and just really dig into the mechanics and see how they play. This is not going to be a mechanical review because I don't feel I'm qualified in this case to speak to it. If anybody has played this, please, shoot me a message and let me know how it plays. I mean, does it make sense once it's, off the paper and on the table? I'm sure it does. I haven't seen this game in any other store, but that doesn't mean anything. There's nowadays with digital copies and online retailers, I don't expect to see every game in the game store. What I will say the game has going for it is aesthetics. Like I said, the book is very nicely done. The art is really well done. I mean, there's some more warrior type pictures. The book is laid out pretty well. I was not a fan of the table of contents because I would like a create your character. I would like skills, disadvantages, and motivation. They have those. They're in here. Skills. They go into skills. Gets its own whole chapter. Chapter 6, gameplay and combat. And then they break it down. But nowhere in here does it say how to do a skill, how to do something. Basic melee attacks. And when you go read it, it's a tad bit confusing. Maybe it's just me and I'm a grognard and I want A to B, B to C. The book kind of, it just doesn't grab me, and I want to like it because I love the genre. I like the aesthetics of the book. I like the art in the book. I like the layout, the way the book is made. Everything on this book screams, terror and space and a good role-playing game, but I can't find the game. I'm not saying it's a bad game because I haven't played it. If someone's rolling a roll D20 or a Skype or Fantasy Grounds, please hit me up. I'd love to give the game a try and see what I'm missing, because reading the rules, I just didn't get it. And I'm pretty sharp on rules. I mean, and this one just eludes me. And I'm sorry, Christopher De La Rosa, I know you put your heart and soul in this, because again, I give mad props to anybody who can put a game out, putting a piece of yourself out on the interwebs. It's just I don't get it. I mean, the back sells it pretty good too. I'll read this off of the back. It says, push the boundaries of horror to the edge of the universe. From the creative team of Outbreak Undead, that's their other game. I guess that game was also a Kickstarter, and I guess evidently it did very well. New kinds of horror await you, once torn from the bodies of the dead, born in the midst of the mad, traveled from depths of space, and even intrusion from the other dimensions of nightmare made manifest. For players, choose from an incredible variety of character paradigms, even use yourself as a template to create immediate immersion. Fluid character advancement and lots of tactical options that utilize unique party roles. Fully customizable gear options to make any futuristic weapon, armor, or device your imagination can devise. For the Game Master, players generate risk for GMs use to unleash an enormous catalog of hazards and opponent upgrades to keep your players on their toes. Multiple options for upgrading encounters and opponents. Run single sessions of survival horror or a sweeping campaign of discovery and political intrigue. Build dread slowly or run action-adventure games. Explore 3 different kinds of terror: infestation, invasion, and transdimensional. Each terror has their unique catalog of dangerous opponents, hazards, and missions with plenty of crossover potential, and much more. So, I mean, they sell it pretty hard on the back, and I like what they're selling. I want to buy it. I just can't figure out how to play the game. I know it's a percentage system. I know they use a margin of success. I've read the rules. I just don't get how it works. And I guess I need to sit down with some people and we need to figure it out. And I would love to do that. So if anybody's going to be in any of the Texas area conventions or Louisiana conventions, man, hit me up if you're running this. I want to pick your brain. I want to know, because I want to like this game. I want to learn more about it. But it's confusing as hell to me. The SPEW system, which is pretty cool. It's basically your characteristics, and they have on their website, you can actually make your own character from the SPEW. You basically answer questions honestly. You could, of course, if you're making a bunch of characters for a convention game, you could answer the questions slightly different and get different results. But you do the SPEW, and I'm trying to page 20. Let's go to page. Oh, look at that! I turned right to it. Determining ability primary SPEW attributes. I'm trying to see where it tells me what SPEW is. And they're giving me a whole bunch of advantages and disadvantages. Okay, here we go. SPEW is strength, empathy, perception, willpower. SPEW. They obviously took the first letter of each one. And then those get a percentage level, and then you go from there. So you can go on their website, and you can fill out your SPEW questionnaire, and it will give you all your stats for your character, and then it tells you to fill them out. Transfer these to a character sheet, and then the derived characteristics, of course, you'll be able to figure out. The one cool thing that I did like about this, they didn't waste space in here with a character sheet, because let's face it, nowadays everybody wants a PDF character sheet. They want a form fillable character sheet. So why waste 1 or 2, maybe even 4 pages or more of character sheets that no one's ever going to use, because pretty much everybody has access to the internet. And if you don't have access to the internet, you can go to your local library, you can go to your school, you can do it at work. Where there's a will, there's a way. But I thought that was kind of cool that they didn't put a character sheet in here. Again, they use margins of success and margins of failure to tell how well you did. It's a percentage-based system. The equipment section I did read, and it was pretty cool because they give you the basics of all your sci-fi, and then you just add things to them to make them different, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of customization, I feel. You can, as a GM, you can tell the story you want to tell. They do a pretty good job in the GM section about giving you adversaries and antagonists, to work against the players or to help the players, depending on how you're going with your game. So, is it a good game? I can't say. Do they sell me on their theme? Hell yeah. Yeah, the art in here is evocative. It's very dark. It's very creepy. There's a good section on how to GM and how to set that tone, to run a horror game in space. So, I mean, they sell the book quite well. So my pros, the art, I love the art. The layout, I love the layout of the book. I like the SPEW system. I'm not entirely convinced that it works, but I like the concept. I think they're onto something there. Especially being able to make your own self as a character, that's really cool, so you could sit down with your players and everybody could make their character and it would be rocking. The cons, I think the combat system might be a little iffy, maybe a little convoluted. I'm not quite sure. Initiative is weird as well. Everybody rolls 46. That's your number. They go into telling you how they, trying to conform initiative into a modern day, role-playing game is, they don't want to do that. But then the next paragraph, they tell you, we have 48 segments and you roll 4d6, which will give you a number between 4 and 48 or whatever it is. And then everybody goes from there. So you kind of are using an initiative system. That was a little wonky to me. But then you count down, and then there's modifiers and advantages and disadvantages that will adjust that number, and then that's where you go in the turn order. That doesn't exist. I don't get it. Again, I really want someone who knows how to run this to contact me and explain it to me. But I mean, I'm sold on the book. I want to like it. It's horror. It's Halloween. This would be a great game to run in space, and with TV shows like The Expanse. the Killjoys, all that stuff going on Sci-Fi, the Orville. I mean, you've got material for days out there if you just want to look at your local TV programming and then throw a horror, theme on it. You're solid. So this was produced. We'll go back and get the questions or the legalese part out of the way. It was copyright 2014 by Outbreak Deep Space by Hunter's Book and Apparel. All rights reserved. So yeah, and they've got their website, outbreakdeepspace.com or outbreakundead.com. So like I said, they had another game called Outbreak Undead, and then this is Outbreak Deep Space. I don't know about Undead. I haven't seen it. I don't even know what it looks like. I know they have some information on their website, and I do vaguely remember checking it out, but that kind of genre doesn't grab me like sci-fi space does. Of course, they have all the downloads on their website that you need. So I guess what I want from you guys is let me know. Has this piqued you? Are you curious? Have you played it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What did you like? What did you dislike? Have you played Outbreak Undead? That sounds like it'd be a cool zombie survival. For me, that game system's kind of tied up, and all flesh must be eaten. It's a simple rule system. It's an easy mechanic. It's a fun game to play. So I don't really need another game in that genre for me. But Deep Space, that's why I picked it up, because I knew what it was when I was buying it. I just didn't know the mechanics, and I still feel like I don't know the mechanics. So if you're De La Rosa or one of his crew, contact me. Let me know. It set me straight, man. I'd love to get a game in of this and check it out. So is it a buy? Maybe. If you're into sci-fi horror, then yes. If you're into horror, yes. If you're into hard sci-fi, probably not. I think there's other games that do the genre a little bit better. It doesn't mean it wouldn't work. You could always use it for source material. But the cool part is it's self-contained game. Everything you need is in this book. There's no other books to buy. So if you're into that self-contained game, don't need to buy a ton of splat books, then this is an option for you. If you like percentage-based systems, I do. So that's definitely a draw for me. So yeah, there it is. It's a maybe in my book. I'm glad I added it to my collection. I'm going to read it some more. And like I said, if you guys are playing it or if you've played it, let me know. Tell me what worked for you and what didn't. So there you go. Deep Space, Outbreak Deep Space. That's what I think of it. Let me know in the notes below what you guys thought. As always, peace and hair grease, and be nice.